Hi, and welcome to Lynes on Design. I'm Debbie Lynes, here today with Matthew Mullally. Thank you for joining us. You know, we all like to be the center of attention sometimes, and I think even our homes have areas that really like to be the focal point and center of attention. We thought it'd be fun, Matthew, to talk to you today because, first of all, you are an extraordinarily talented artist. You are also, you don't just paint, you paint with furniture, and you create focal points, I guess is the best way to say it. We're here today in Port Royal in the penthouse, and it's absolutely glorious. You can see how beautiful it is around us. And we wanted to talk about the kitchen that you did here. This was an older home, older kitchen, if you will. And the folks wanted to, the owners wanted to update it.
Yes, well, the MC was telling me that her husband agreed to letting her have new floors, but she couldn't have both. But I came in here and said, well, you don't have to get new ones. I can do something to streamline the look of this kitchen. And it was disjointed and strange the way the cabinets were lower from the ceiling and placed in an odd way that we streamlined. We built with thin plywood extensions to the ceiling and then put molding there.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Streamlined the whole, architecturally streamlined, and then I did a lovely finish over that, like an antique Navajo white.
Let's talk about the entire process. If a client comes to you, and you are the pro, do you have a vision in mind? Do you listen to what they want, to the lifestyle? If they want that particular area to be a center of attention, or if they want it to fade, how do you go about the process?
Well, you know, you can select finishes that are going to definitely be more of a statement, like this combed silver here.
It's gorgeous.
We used on just parts of the kitchen, just details, and it's kind of had the silver lent itself almost to that industrial chic aesthetic or vibe. And, you know, I just by chance had this sample, and Tom, the owner, looked at it and said he really liked it, and it's an unusual selection for a kitchen, but what we did was we used it judicially. We just did the lower portion of the cabinetry in this blue tone, and then the rest of it was this Navajo white.
I'm really curious about your background. I know, gosh, I've known you for a lot of years now. How has your style or technique evolved? What are you doing now that you weren't, or what do you find that's a little more fashionable, if you will,
well,
or the center of attention?
As it's almost like how do you get to Carnegie Hall? You know, practice, practice, practice. The more I found myself doing it, the better my technique became, and it evolved. And I used to do something that was much more labor intensive and messy, and with the edges where I would kind of try to scrape away paint on the edges and give it that old world look. But now my technique, I call, is simply a rub through, where I apply the color, and as soon as it's applied, it's rubbed through to a darker cocoa colored primer. And it's just lovely and dressier looking.
As you were doing this kitchen,
Yeah.
what was the ultimate goal? What was the look you were going for? Is that a fair way of saying it?
I just wanted it to be gorgeous, you know, and I wanted them to come in here when it was finished and say, this is a gorgeous, bespoke, one-of-a-kind kitchen that no one else has.
The home is very eclectic, but very sophisticated. And yet, when I walk into the kitchen, there is a huge element of comfort, too. Are those kinds of things, I guess, is that something you would put in the equation? Yes, I want it to be sophisticated and upscale. But
I'm leaving a piece of myself here, too, in some strange way, like, not to get all metaphysical, but, you know,
get metaphysical.
The part of me that has intent and has focus and has pride in my work stays there. You know, I know that and I know that when people see that when people are in an environment that's special, they can sense it, they can feel it. So in a sense, they're sensing my presence.
What I notice is the attention to detail that's really pretty impressive. I was even noticing the hardware that was on the cabinetry, which I thought was fabulous.
It's lovely, and I think Tom and MC made that selection after the project was completed. Or it might have been before, and maybe they just turned out to be perfectly suitable. once the whole process was finished.
Do you strictly do the painting? Do you have, for lack of a better word, subcontractors or people that you call in? If, for example, if you want the molding, is that something that you would actually
I
talk
have
someone through?
favorite people that I've worked with
Okay.
that I know I can communicate these details to. Sometimes they're available, sometimes they're not. And so if they're not available, I'll get a phone number of someone else and just see if they can understand what needs to be done.
What are some of the questions that you ask a client when you first entered, let's say, their kitchen, for example?
Well, I could ask them what it is that they don't like about it,
Okay.
what bothers them.
And for example, in this kitchen?
And then we'll correct it.
Okay.
In this kitchen, they were just prefab cabinets. They were 20 years old. They were the finish was old. It was just white lacquered factory finish, and we just spun straw into gold.
Okay, that's,
Okay,
beautifully
we took what was
said.
there. I mean, even if we took what was there and we've created a beautiful kitchen.
Masterpiece.
It's beautiful.
Really, it really is. One of the things that I noticed too that was really interesting is you worked your magic throughout other areas of this home, which I thought was fantastic. I love the fireplace. I'd love to talk about that for a second. And then the bar area I think is pretty spectacular too.
Well, what came first? It all started with a table, a coffee table they wanted to paint, and then we discussed the kitchen, and then we added on the bar. We added on the mantelpiece, and we added on, I think, the tabletop that needed to be attended to, not refinished, but I just painted it, and from there. They sent me to Coconut Grove to do their other residents, and then they have pet projects they come up with all the time. But I don't do that type of little pet projects for everyone. I can't. I mean, I can't make a living that way.
But you obviously develop relationships with the folks. Do you feel as though you get a real sense of personality, lifestyle?
Definitely. I mean, MC and Tom are very colorful people, vivacious couple, and it's kind of a breath of
a fresh air for you.
Yeah, it is, because I like that. I mean, I like to see diversity, and I think because they're from Miami, they're used to diversity,
right.
And they live with diversity.
They're not afraid of the color or the stepping out of the paradigm,
and you can kind of see it with their selections.
How did you get involved in this kind of thing, in this art?
Well, art school first.
All right.
And then just working in fancy stores in Soho, like part-time jobs to make a living in my 20s in furniture.
Do you enjoy painting on furniture? Do you enjoy painting on canvas? Are you pretty eclectic with what you like?
With my artwork, I'm actually using my own personal artwork. I'm using thin panels of Luan plywood panels, because sometimes I'll sand down whole areas as a way to erase parts I don't like.
Right.
I'll just use a palm sander. And it also kind of gives a technique that's mysterious, like, how did he do that? So yeah, there are just tricks that I have up my sleeve, learning tricks to create something that's beautiful and complex.
And you know, from a cost-effective point of view, is it always something to consider before you, I guess to keep a center of attention, many of us think we have to have something new or flashy or, you know, but what I learned from coming in today to this kitchen, just looking at the bar and looking at the mantle, is talk about absolutely beautiful, but didn't have to break the bank. It's pretty impressive what you did. How much technique goes into this?
Well, it's a 4-step process.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a primer, there's a tinted primer, there's the color application, which in this case I combed with a whisk broom.
That's what you said, exactly.
Using a whisk broom, and then there's a glaze it's on top of that. So it's usually a 3 or 4-step process.
Do you have a favorite paint that you use, or do you like one brand over another, or do you think it's pretty much?
Well, the primer that I use, I'm particular about that, and that's Benjamin Moore, Paper Tiger. But as far as the color that I find, oftentimes I'll even mix together things that I've had to come up with the perfect color, and then have it matched.
Do you oftentimes have to talk your clients through the process, or talk them through the initial, like, I'm scared, what's it going to look like?
I do. If I sense that they have misgivings, I will talk to them about the steps involved, and at a certain stage it might have a strange look to you, but
Oh yeah, but let it get finished
but I ask
first.
them to please reserve their judgment until the final step is done, and then they'll see how it all. Like, even when I was doing this faux tumbled marble up here, MC was like, I don't think that's working, and she said, I don't know why you're spinning your wheels with that, and then I just kept at it, and it's lovely and beautiful.
And I think that is something that we all have a
But
tendency
she came
of
in
doing.
and immediately she thought,
not
no.
so
But she was
much.
looking at it in between the steps, yeah.
Do you have an inspiration project that you would love to do? I mean, is there something that you're thinking, gosh, if I just had the right venue or the right kitchen, I would love to try this new.
I don't have an answer for that. I think that I look at factory finishes that people
Okay.
can select, that people make selections from when they put in new cabinetry, and I never find anything that I like.
As well.
I don't like them. I don't like them. I don't like the way they look. Someone was asking me recently, well, these are the samples. A friend of mine in New Jersey putting in a new kitchen.
Right.
I like the finishes that Restoration Hardware does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you were underwhelmed with the rest of
But
them.
as far as regular factory finishes, and everything's from China, let's not.
Yeah, mince
Let's
words
not.
here.
Yeah. So I don't find anything that is attractive or really makes a statement.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun to talk to you. You're brilliant, and
Thank
we
you.
want to have you back a couple of times. We want to actually show you in process one day. I think that would be a lot of fun. There's a lot more to come here on Lines on Design. Please stay with us.